Is right now really a good time to buy a house? You know, I get this question quite a bit, and as nice as it would be for me to have a cookie cutter answer for everybody, I don't. But what I want to do in today's video is kind of go through what we know and give you some tools and resources, some questions you can ask yourself to know if right now is really the time for you to buy. But before we get into it, make sure to like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and ring that notification bell so that you never miss a new video. So the first thing that I want to talk about is what we know. First thing here is interest rates. In 2020, the average interest rate was at 3%. 3%! That was so incredibly low. But if we take a bird's eye view and look over the last 50 years, interest rates have ranged anywhere from 16.6% all the way down to 3%. We're really on the average end of things right now. But if things were to ever drop even a little, even if we dipped under 6%, we would see an influx of people who wanted to buy. Really, if you look historically, we're right at about average for interest rates right now. The other thing that we know is that there is a lack of inventory. Again, a lot of people bought houses in 2020, and a lot of people refinanced their houses in 2020, and they don't want to give up that interest rate. So what we're seeing is a lot of really low inventory. So what we know is high interest rates, low inventory makes for high prices. But that doesn't mean that you should leave out buying altogether, because honestly, when you look, again, take that bird's eye view, real estate has appreciated on an average of 3 to 5% every year. Now that's not to say that there aren't some years where the market's way down and there aren't some years where the market's way up. But again, if you're looking at it bird's eye view, if you were to look at it on a graph, that's what we would see, is that it continually trends up. It might dip here and there, but it continually goes up. So buying a home as opposed to renting, when you rent, all of that money is going to your landlord and paying off his house payment, right? Or her house payment, whoever owns the land. But when you're paying your own house payment, you're actually building equity in that home. And when you go to sell it, if it's appreciated, that 3 to 5%, as long as it's not a super down year, you're going to make more money off of that house. So what we know is that interest rates are a little higher. We know that inventory is very low, which drives our prices up. But we also know that real estate tends to appreciate 3 to 5% every year. So all of this is information that you want to be taking into consideration when you're thinking about, should I buy this year? Now, this is kind of general information, but what I want to do right now is give you some guidelines, some questions that you can ask yourself when it comes to when you're actually going to buy your home. So the first question that you need to ask yourself is, how's my credit score? Listen, if your credit's in the tank, you're not going to be able to get a good interest rate. You're not even getting the 7.5% interest rate, right? You are getting a really rough interest rate because your credit score is so low. The first thing that you want to do is make sure your credit is good. If you don't have good credit, you can meet with a financial advisor, you can meet with a lender. There are some lenders that specialize in helping you bring that credit up. But you need to do something about your credit. Make sure you have a really good credit score. Make sure that your credit's not in the tank, because however good your credit is however good your interest rate is going to be. The second thing that you want to consider when you're kicking around, okay, do I buy, do I not buy, is how much money do you have saved? When you're going to buy a house, you do need to have a down payment. You do have to have money for closing costs. And there are programs for that. You can look into those, absolutely. Talk to a lender. There's down payment assistance programs. There's loan programs where you're putting 5% down as opposed to 20%. But you need to figure out what programs you're qualified for and how much money you have put away. If you only have $100 saved and you want to buy a house, frankly, that's not going to cut it. You want to make sure that you have enough saved for your down payment, for your closing costs, for inspections. We always recommend that you get a private inspection done, because you don't want to buy a house and then find out there's mold in it and have to spend thousands of dollars to remediate the mold. You know, there are problems that at least you know what you're getting into if you have an inspection, and if you don't have an inspection, that can catch you off guard and throw you into a bunch of financial turmoil real quick. So you want to ask yourself, how much money do I have saved and how much do I need? Which kind of goes hand in hand with my next question, and that is, how much can my monthly payment be? Now, both the last thing and this thing, you're going to have to sit down and figure out and crunch numbers. I know it's not always fun, but it's super duper important. When you know what your monthly payment is, this helps your realtor know what houses to take you to. Just because a lender pre-approves you for a certain amount, that just means that you can pay that much. You might not have anything else to live on, but you could pay that monthly payment according to their numbers. You want to make sure that you're sitting down and getting your numbers and saying, this is how much I actually spend on food. This is how much I actually spend on utilities. This is how much I actually spend on subscriptions. This is how much I actually spend on a car payment. This is how much I spend on insurance. You want to go through, list out all of your expenses, and make sure that you know how much you can afford per month. This may help you out tremendously. Maybe you're saying, man, all I can afford is the rent that I'm paying. I can't afford to have any increase. Well, then there's your answer. But if you know what your house payment should be, you know how much you can afford each month with your income, that can really help your realtor, because you may be approved for a $350,000 house, but if all you can afford is a $280,000 house and that's the monthly payment that you can afford, that's what we're steering you towards. We do not want you to end up in a home you can't pay for. And the fourth thing here is talk to your lender. Listen, it doesn't cost you any money to book a phone call with a lender, but this can really help you. It helps you know what kind of down payment assistance you may qualify for, if at all. It helps you know what loan programs you qualify for and weigh the risks and benefits of each one. Talking with a lender costs you no money, and they can help you find out what that monthly payment is going to be. Not just the Zillow version where it's principal and interest and that's all, but with your taxes, with your insurance. This really will help you out. And once you talk to a lender, and if all your ducks are in a row, you can get pre-approved. And then you can come to your realtor and we can get you looking around for a house just like that. So that really will help you out if you talk to a lender, talk to a real estate professional, and kind of know where you stand. Now, if you've checked all 4 of those boxes and you know, hey, I'm ready to buy a house, and you look around and you find a house you love, buy it now. Because if you're ready and you find the house, if the interest rate goes down, you can refinance. If the interest rate doesn't go down, you're going to be so thankful that you bought, because the interest rates may be up and you're dealing with a much lower interest rate than what others are dealing with. So really weighing these questions, taking the facts in, that can really help you determine if right now is the right time to buy for you. If you need anything, if you have any questions, you can give me a call or shoot me an email. All of my contact information is in the description below. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon.